Welcome everyone to Afrogoth Nicole Kali back in the DMV. We were just in NYC for our Prospect Park pop-up party, right? Our apologies for the hiatus. It has been a very hectic 7 days, needless to say, with the election and the resulting winner of that. What can we really say about the current, the now? Honestly, that we only have regrets partially, right? There's only so much we can do as a constituency, as you know, the people, citizens of the United States, to change the outcome of who's president, The factors in Kamala winning versus losing, I think we already know is a matter of authenticity, right? It's also fundraising, too. Politicians win based on how much their contributors believe in them / publicly endorse them. Elon Musk is a pretty tough candidate to match in terms of, election contributions and campaigns. Are you serious? As soon as Elon chipped in their 2 cents for Trump, regardless of your political leanings, fam, I kind of knew it was a wrap. But that aside, I care about y'all. RTD is always about having the necessary dialogue and creating a community space. I'm not perfect, neither is anybody else out here. And you are gorgeous. You already know that, fam. How have you been? Yo, I apologize for taking a hiatus. I need to get back to many of y'all. The crew is definitely worthy of my attention, worthy of my, communication. I'm going to be more consistent with that. There's been some weird unfollowing on Instagram, so if you were wondering what happened with that, I'm going to get back on that as well. Because from Texas, where Gutta 2 times is, to NYC, to Virginia, where I am, the Caribbean, Brooklyn, rock the diaspora, worldwide, you feel me? It's not just a hashtag or a slogan, it's a way of life. Black power, and people of color gathering together and rocking the way that we want to, making our music, our art, our way. So the pop-up was a success, kind of. I want to hear how y'all are doing, because there's plenty to fill you in on. But what's going on in your state? What's happening in your town? And what kind of vibes are we cultivating with our creativity, Gutta 2 times says that they've been good. That's what I want to hear. They're always making beats. They're always promoting artists. They're always putting their heart, soul, and true grit into this work, one of the coolest producers I've heard, especially for trap and alternative music, is she. It's her. She really is that girl. Got it 2 times. That is Gutta 2 times with a Y. Don't forget. Yeah, brown, black, and every color in between. Okay? That is the motto. And she definitely embodies that. She promotes everyone. She gives this real flavor and profile to her beats and her music. And I love her battle raps and just her kind of freestyle flow poetry. That is cool. You don't see that as much anymore. They really don't. They put me on to Baradis Jester, by the way. Baradis is really cool. Those are 2 artists that are affiliated / I found out about. Speaking of brown and black and every color in between, that's Puerto Rico for sure. So, there's this illegal album that came out in the 90s called Playero, right? It was illegal because, cannabis was banned in the country of Puerto Rico, and you couldn't promote it, right? So, this underground album, Playero, had out, artists like Daddy Yankee, you know them. Who else? Camille Leon, Shalamar. It was a really dope ass mix of like artists that were on that. Oh, an original Q, but like the most famous artist on Payoto like 38/93 is probably Daddy Yankee for sure. You know that? Oh no, oh no, oh no. I was like, oh. I realized there is so much I've been missing out on in terms of reggaeton and like he's like Latina people's influence on hip hop and just music in general. Don't sleep on it. You try so hard. Like, I'm not even capping. Like, I see the effort that you put in. It's not easy, especially being a lady, an MC. Both of those two things. Like, I love the style. And it's nonchalant, but it's also like, it's like, damn, like, I was a little shook, I'm not gonna like lie, but not in a bad way. I was like, this is impressive, to keep the cadence and to keep like the thoughtfulness of the rhymes. Like, it was not your average cookie cutter like approach to poetry. This Brie One Ray, by the way, I guess she's kind of avant-garde. If you want to think about an R&B/rap performer being avant-garde, I like their approach to the art. It's cool. As people, go and flow, you are welcome to pitch in. This is going to be a very controversial live, but I'm going to take my credit for things because I know that I can be super weird and not on my shit in terms of social decorum. A little more detail about that soon. But I did want to say, I hope y'all enjoyed your Samhain, your spooky season. Hope you had like all of the vibes and the celebrations that you wanted to. I was in Brooklyn during the 31st and the 30th. And like I said, the pop-up was lit, but there are some things that I wish I could change, and just some things that I know I'm gonna like fix for next time. Guest list being another. Love my peoples, but here's some feedback that I have, too. I did say it was gonna be at the Machete Circle on Parkside Avenue. I made sure people knew the directions and how to get there. I could have picked a better spot, but it's hard to get a permit at Prospect. Did not know that. So, I set up with the homie Marshall, and I make moves. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get these other two friends because they're lost and they're waiting for me on the other side of Parkside. It's about a 10-minute walk. Telling me why. 20 minutes, because it's 10 minutes there and back. They're complaining to me about not getting there fast enough. Y'all, it goes without saying that I traveled from DC to, New York. And then the day after I had an event. So, I'm an out-of-towner, hosting the shindig, which was awesome. But it's not so cool when people are, kind of nitpicking at how the event is unfolding. I'm not exactly a local, so I'm trying to put together as much of a convenient, gathering place as I can. But Brooklyn's dead, so I get it. I can get past that. Things can stay copacetic as long as, we all just convene and eventually get to hang out. That happens, but the plus one of this homie that I'm getting to know is sexually harassing me throughout the event. Send me whatever you like, sis. There are so many controversial opinions, pieces, just kind of ways that society is unfolding, if we're going to be real, and I like tapping into that anti-authority, rage, different energy. But I also I'm like, we gotta make sure that we're taking that in a direction that's not super destructive. Destructive energy can be good. When you want to rework things or make them new, that's part of it. But we also have to be like decisive, and like where we're going as people, into the future. Yeah, let me know what you were up to. I'm Victor and, got out to time. Yes. Feel free to put me in touch with any artists that you co-sign, you think are dope. There's a lot of artists, even if I personally don't get along with them, I have to give them credit on their artistic merit. They know how to make a rhyme. They know how to be on that beat. Hey, I also can't separate the art from the artist though, right? And that's what this live's gonna be about. So at this point, where the plus one of my main guest is hitting on me, and my co-host / date has to intervene and essentially claim me so that they get the head, I'm uncomfortable. I am trying to hide my discomfort with the fact that my boundaries are being encroached upon more and more throughout this get together. But it ends up spilling over because there's still comments about certain playlist choices, whether or not we could make things louder, all that good stuff, right? Understand that I'm not the best host in the world. I just wish people were more appreciative overall. That's okay. These are teaching moments for me. The straw that broke the camel's back, though, was when I was not me having to Uber the person home who's been harassing me throughout this event. I can't deal. Oh my gosh. But, it's also to the point where, I would have gladly pitched in to get them out of my space because that's how much they were invading it, Let's be real. Oh, you just about to do your nails? I just did mine. It's a whole... Yeah, it takes some time, so... Please do message me. And like I said, my bad if I have unfollowed some folks. You know what? I'm here for y'all. I rep the art. I get it. And we here, We're here together. We will definitely catch up more. I value your opinion. Marvin, I value you too, and thank you for appreciating, the fact that I'm always kind of looking different. Trying some different looks, some new things. Thank you. Thank you for just being here, It's not about giving me props. The fact that y'all are just out there doing your thing. That's great. I know it's you, Mark. You're the only person that, claims Yautja like that. Yautja being from Predator, right? So cool. Speaking of that, we're going to be talking more about, black influence in sci-fi, right? Obviously, Predator has locks, kind of this dark dot look. Seems influenced a little bit by, African, hunting techniques as well. It's okay, I kind of like that. That black people have been, whether, directly or their influence, part of, science fiction. Predator, the actual Predator, and I believe Alien were played by, black men. Is that problematic? Could be. Is it still representation in terms of us being in that sphere? Yeah, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Marvin. And thank you out there, sis. Repping from Texas. Got it 2 times. And we missed Honey Child. That's a big regret that I have. I am so sorry, Honey Child. Love to you, for me out there. We just missed each other because traffic was so bad. Traffic was so awful that I literally could not see Honey Child Coleman. That is tragic. Hello! How's it going? Good to see you. But next time, the because we're going to have seasonal pop-up parties. We're going to make sure that everyone is involved and everyone can be there. That can get along and have love and respect for each other. Some folks that I fortunately do not have as much love and respect for, and that is why I have to break the silence on some situations. I will take the rap for my part in them, because like I said, if I'm going to be public and like a major public part of Rock the Diaspora, then I have to talk about my own, faults and making a safe community space and one where we can all talk to each other, I have autism. I totally miss some like social navigations people have to walk me through. So you've noticed that, but I'm also not hiding that either. There's many of us out there who are still learning how to just be present and like reach each other in like non-superficial ways. I get it, we're all getting to that point where we can be comfortable in how we relate to each other and comfortable within ourselves, So, my mood is kind of fluctuating, and I've been offline for the primary reason that I have felt as if there's not as much gratitude or comprehension for what I do or the experiences that I've had, especially acute ones building up throughout this year alone, This is about cultivating like an artistic forum. It's also related to Black Rockers United, right? And other, previous collectives or individuals that I've experienced that don't fully like meet me where I am and like hold me in my blackness as a community. BRU, Black Rockers United. That was founded by Nate McClyde. So remember, my career is multifaceted. Many of you know that, right? That's where apparel continues its success on the fashion side. On the media side, we have rock talks and graphic design that we do, and consultation for a nonprofit. The other profile, many of y'all know, is continuing to grow in its popularity, right? So I'm well known in that respect too. That doesn't excuse and has been abused by the scumbag we're referring to, in a leadership position especially. Being the founder of BRU and then propositioning me automatically puts me in a spot where I feel the pressure to say yes even though I did say no. The repercussions were being gaslit and essentially pushed out of the role that I was brought on to literally do, which is bolster this group and make it a better quality, a better sense of safety, because there was no real sense of safety or order in Black Rockers United. And now that the team has transferred and Ali and Kim have come with me, you will see that more and more. So, to be just blunt and explicit, I don't have to reproduce the text messages because frankly, I was disgusted to keep them, but rubbing one's butt with coconut oil is not an appropriate response or text message to be sending to persons on your team. Crossing that line overall let me know that I was no longer going to be part of this thing. So, since I wanted creative control and my own LLC, hence Rock the Diaspora, but before we made a business so that we could sell our merchandise and really get this idea off the ground, we had to really confront ourselves, and like our peers about, okay, this is really sketchy. I know I could be doing better, but this still doesn't excuse any of the received behaviors, and honestly, like malintent and neglect. from like people that wanted to be our friends, perhaps more, or at the very least in our social circle, close to us, otherwise. The same era, Creature from Rebelmatic, yes, I will call them out by name, sees me at Flora's birthday show in December 2022 and proceeds to text me. Now, the day after that, my brother Jaron gets into a car accident. Creature takes it upon himself to essentially sext me and ask if he can censor himself and send pictures of his genitalia. I automatically cussed him the fuck out, as you can expect. Needless to say, and I held the accountability knife to his neck. We'll get back to that, right? This is 2022. A month or two into 2023, I meet Death Bar Danny. Slings and Arrows, it's like one of their first like meetups at Jimmy Valentine's in the Hearts Club, or Little Miss Whiskey's Golden Dollar, either. I didn't think anything of it at the time. They seem cool. 2024, in April, we reconnected. They reached out to me, and we essentially casually go out on a series of dates. Now, RTD hasn't fully coalesced in terms of my vision yet. But I'm already noticing that there's this apprehension from several of, my male peers, especially black men, about, my growing influence in music and, in the local scene in DC. I'm also noticing, the first red flag is that I'm essentially falling into the role of kind of a trauma bond with this person, and that's partially my fault because I'm going through breakups myself someday. It still didn't really ring right with me. It didn't sit well with me that we only hung out at my house or hung out at their job at the club. So our first, decisive meetup was, dinner and then going to a club. The next one was going to the club, and then my house, my residence. So my space kind of became unevenly balanced in comforting them while they were going through, this painful, separation, but not really getting as much acknowledgement, or if I was, getting that acknowledgement, it seemed like it wasn't matched. That my, contribution emotionally wasn't really seen for how it takes a lot. It takes a lot to comfort someone, to have the emotional intelligence to say, I am grieving, I'm hurting, but this person also, deserves a friend and a shoulder. So I did that as long as I could. And, as we get to know each other more, I learned some flaws, but also some redeeming qualities, as with anybody, So, as I said, Death Bar Danny is a great rapper. They have this charisma that draws people in. I respect that. And I suggest the interview that happened this past summer. But soon this narrative kind of emerges either in their head, or perhaps that's how enthusiastic I seemed, that there had to be a catch. Because someone close to them was a scammer, they automatically assigned that narrative, that motive to me, too. Plus, they admitted and said it was horrible to say, if they had known that I had ran RTD, Rocket Diaspora, aka I was a woman with power and choices to do things with that power, that they never would have pursued me. Okay, it gets better. This sense of self-importance, just leaps out and becomes this monster after them going on tour. And we discussed the tour during the interview, and I was really proud of them, but this particular comment really jarred me from Danny, and I quote, DMV bitches are too mid to have the attitudes that they do, pretty much verbatim. So keep in mind, and I'm not trying to put anyone's business out there, they're still grieving the loss of someone very, very close to them and formative in their life. Understood. However, problematic situations like that were already, on my mind while they were asking for comfort for that grief. It was really difficult for me to put aside the comments about women, especially, being that I'm a woman from the community, and just other dismissive attitudes towards victims of emotional and physical abuse. Like, it's a well-known fact that Breezy Supreme and Zaria had a very tumultuous, not amicable separation, and that Breezy has a lot of responsibility for that. Saying that Zaria is not perfect either sounds like apologism to me. So now we have an instance of being an apologist for a known abuser, and then further, downing women by saying that they are not attractive enough to have standards, to have an attitude. This is at the same time that men, especially in their circle, are often championed for having these abrasive fuck you attitudes. Saying that the scene is worse and they're decorum by comparison to you doesn't put you in the clear. It's not a green flag. That's not a green light to be less shitty than your surroundings. That means that you have to do better. Otherwise, you just end up being the nicest asshole in the room, but you're still an asshole. Keep in mind, it definitely applies to a lot of the people that they know, women or otherwise. Their standard of social conduct itself is mid, so for them to expect women to be outstanding while at the same time they are subpar is very disappointing. Now here's where I do sympathize again. Emotional intelligence and polyamory are not easy topics to navigate. They're not easy worlds to become well versed in. I've lost my nerve over so many situations of rejection, of just not being mature enough, of obsessing over, past relationships. I understand. And I got so excited about being part of their artistic process that I should have asked, and I should have taken a step back and asked if they were really ready to be friends, but also have that component of the business added as well. But it gets really old knowing the colorism and a lack of wanting to confront misogynoir are creating a barrier between them. Keep in mind, they met another person, of romantic or just general familial, not familial in the related sense, but feeling familiar with. At the same time that they met me. Now, I would consider hooking up with someone in public, especially in DC, to be a very not very well thought out, extremely impulsive thing to do. But that is their record. Now, mind you, I understand when we have these very strong feelings of affection and lust, we can't hold back. I just find it very hypocritical that when I do the questioning of, okay, so I've developed feelings for you at the very least, it's been 3 months and, I have a crush on you considerably, to reject that and say that that's not long enough time to become attached, but then you literally are hooking up with someone in public, the first or second date, and that same person that you essentially hooked up with in public, about 2 or 3 months after you met them, now you're seriously considering them as a prospect. I don't know about you, but to tell me that 3 months isn't enough time, but then you are solidifying the deal in that same amount. The math is not mathing, and I'll take a rap for anything that goes wrong in terms of conflict and resolution as well. But there's a reason that these people block me. From Creature to Death Bar Danny, right? The common theme here is respect, equally or otherwise. You cannot be so obvious in your disrespect of me, but then pretend to give more respect, and unconditional respect to somebody else. Having more ties to them in this particular case wouldn't make any sense because you've known them for 3 months, you've known me for 3 months as well. The difference is that I have authority, right? The difference is that you felt intimidated by me and you don't feel intimidated by them, which is why you are more indebted to them and feel less pressure to up your game. It's real. Someone that enables you and doesn't push you or challenge you, that's not necessarily love. That's just finding a space where you don't have to grow, but you feel as if you are where you belong. And I know that sounds bitter, but it also is a very privileged thing. You know, like you cannot expect me to have this capacity to show up and pat you on the back and take you through this like really raw, rough reality, losing somebody, you know, losing like someone that you decided to attach your heart to, and then losing someone that you literally are tied by blood to. You know, tough love is knowing that some versions of us don't deserve softness. We don't deserve to be comforted in that way until we are ready to do that for somebody else. I know that I couldn't ask for the kind of peace that I expected from them now. That is my main mistake. But their main mistake is not admitting and then shutting down the conversation about where they were here. Because 2 months before I no longer spoke with Death Bard, right? Bitches were still part of their vocab, openly. Right? And 2 years ago, we, aka Creature, and several other men in the rock on extreme scene, harassing women and then blocking them, out of cowardice. Now, Dubcore, World Leader Recordings, you know, like, for every one of these mentioned, it's about preserving themselves more than accountability. And fixing it, not just denying it. It being the issue. Problem is, America has proven whether Trump wins, whether Kamala did in some alternate universe or timeline, be it wrestling with arguably the most problematic male figure in the last 100 years, Vince McMahon, who had Trump on his specials, on WWE. Or pop culture and music, like Diddy's horrific legacy. Nefarious. Too many of us are used to low bars. We're used to like the standard being ground level, okay? We don't want to know. And too often when we do know, we don't care. Because it doesn't affect us. We want to feel better about ourselves, and we don't want to look at our complicity in fucked up shit going on. It's that simple. Now, I condoned abuse and harm to others from desensitization and it happening to me for so much of my lifetime. You know, I received and reciprocated too much for full redemption. I am not fully going to, you know, gain that like sense of yes, like love me for who I am, because I know who I am to some extent didn't earn that yet. Very well. I have to earn the respect and the trust of others in many cases. And I understand. But no, the solidarity can't coincide with denial. It can't coincide with stonewalling. And even still, I hold hope for every single person that you've heard about in this life. But do I regret being blocked? Do I regret being unappreciated? Do I regret being harassed in my latest endeavor to the city? Yeah, because it's a recurring problem of using my imperfection as an excuse to mistreat me and not do better for me when I'm doing like my damnedest to make sure that the black community gets ahead, that we actually have somewhere we can call home. So whoever is hurt, upset, or wondering the purpose of me airing these mugs out, simply transparency, because they're now free to tell whatever version of events they like. Having cut me out or removed me, now I'm free to do the same. I'm a media consultant, and I'm adding anti-fascist element in the mix, right? And I have a crucial opportunity as a result. I can create platforms, I can demand better, I can move resources, I can push politicians, I can create different paradigms for the diaspora and mend broken things. Some things might stay broken, but we try it. We try. So we gotta rewind and go back to some shows. You know, we're Afro-futurists. You know what I'm saying? This might just be for this weekend, if you don't mind. I'm not entirely sure that we brought the older shows. But we'll be going live again this weekend, just so you guys get the full 411, and I know plenty of y'all are probably curious as to, you know, an extended version of this whole thing. And it's all good, you know. Beatrice showed up, Nate from Winterwolf showed up. That was fun. The issue was, fortunately, like, not all company you keep is quality. And without getting too much into it, I found out that a community member of ours who is trans has had a traumatic encounter of the trigger warning sexual driving. And someone who enabled their assaulter happened to be me. Why do I not care about putting these things public? Because we need to eliminate any hiding places, you understand, for the predatory behavior, and then the people who condone and dismiss it, downplay it. You know, as I said, Death Guard Danny knows what happened to Daria, was told by me, and is aware of the details himself, and due to Misogynoir, doesn't sympathize as much as they should about what happened. If you don't believe me, ask them yourself. It's all verifiable. Again, ask me, and then go ask the people who were concerned. So, today, for the summer, international first, right? So Oxford Art Factory over in Sydney, Australia. We have Unwound. We have Broken Sail. We have Zaki at Hard Rock Cafe over in Egypt. Sharm el Sheikh. That's at 8:30 p.m. But it already passed because they are 6 hours ahead, baby. Africa. Persecutory in Konadas, Warsaw. Metal Cave Club, Poland. Tycho at Atlantis the Eastern. Mama Honey, Real Garden, that's some black blues rock, baby, in Memphis, Tennessee. Bad Lips, Mars God, Needle Freak, Valhalla, Austin, Texas. King Diamond's on tour. Who were they performing with? Merker for guest vocals. Night Demon, Overkill, very cool. Chicago Theater, Chicago, Illinois. Tonight. Reminiscent Wound. Everlasting Everything. And Sun Showers. The Black Buzzard, Denver, Colorado. 8 p.m. Washed Out, Godfather of Chillwave, The Column, and Big After. Revolution Hall, also in Colorado. Grey Lotus, Lucretia, Knot and Company, Spokane, Washington, The Big Dipper. 7:30 p.m. They're 3 hours behind. Betty Gray, Cassowary Carnage, Tripper, Simple Bar and Grill, Petworth, DC. Full Circle, Ocean City, Secrets. Fragile, Like Life After, A Paramount, A Love Supreme, Ortlieb's, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's at 7 p.m. sharp. Ogre Ride, Glazener, Torino Death Ride, and Co. The Camel, Richmond, Virginia. Tomorrow, Friday. Lord Bishop Rocks, Grey Noise, Hard Place, Zagreb, Croatia. Lord Bishop Rocks, Anthony's trying to get in touch with you. You know about what? Hit them up. Pitchfork Music Festival, that is going to be a 3-day affair. Might be 4. And Patty France. The venue is going to be Supersonic, and that is with legendary sibling band Infinity Song, Chanel Bees, BB, La Lame, and that is at 4 p.m. Other artists that are going to be there are Bone JR. Who else? Yeah, just a really amazing host of artists. Definitely check out the Pitchfork Music Festival. I just found out about it this week. Blaze Bailey, you already know the legend. Absolva, Gagarin 205, Athens, Greece. Gagarin 205. Pistons, Cell Intruder, Crop Rod, Travis Warlord, Magnolia or Magbar, Louisville, Kentucky. Trash Panda, Black Rockers, Human Resources, The Music Farm, Charleston, South Carolina. The Blank, Stylist Action Plan, Bar 13, Wilmington, Delaware. Bedmaker, Jaime Fortuna, Mini Beast, Frederick, Eagles Club, Frederick, Maryland. Armani Broken, Animal Ion, Bullet to the Heart, Rain of Z, Zen West, Towson, Maryland, right outside of Baltimore. LAW, Law, and the Planet 12 Movement, The Bitter End, Manhattan, Midtown. Fleshworm, Den of Wolves, Nacier, The Tap Yard, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Iron Maiden's on tour, and the guest is The Who. PPG Paint Arena, Pittsburgh, PA, baby. Path to Exile, River Bloodbath, and Adventure Brewing Company wrapping it up for Friday night. Saturday, Emo Carnival 2024. And that is Oxford Art Factory, Sydney, Australia. Bombars Now, Kailath, Septarian, Blackstrap Rock Hall, Georgia, Gainesville. Spider, Diabolus, Cemetery Frost, Siberia, New Orleans, 9 p.m. Modest Mouse, 20th anniversary of Float On, and that beautiful album with the Black Heart Procession at the Sound, Del Mar, California. Andre 3000's also on tour, and they'll be at the Kennedy Center on Saturday. Tickets are still available. That's in Foggy Bottom, DC. Delaware Terror Fest is back with the Teary Riot. Or the Teary-Op. Nice. Ametropia, Hematoid, Night Hag, Halftime Sports Bar. And that is in Newark, Delaware. Vosh, the Goth Legends, Pearl and Total Maniac. All DMV, all very iconic, and that's at Holy Frijoles in Baltimore, Maryland. Bar Sinister, you already know, LA, Goth and Go-Go, 10 p.m. every Saturday night. Resident DJs, JPEG and Tommy. Celebration Summon, American Television, Sick Mood, Corey House Tavern, Silver Spring. Writhing Squares, Bitterwood, Mini Beast, Slow City Diner, Philly. Fallen Void, Burning Shadows, and Merciful Zero, my bad. Salisbury Center, which is a growing hotspot for metal and rock in Manassas, Virginia. Sunday, Alien Ant Farm, with the 1865 being the spot, Southampton, England. And opening act, CKY. Athens, at Dreamquest Rock Bar with DJ Eliana, Long Live Rock and Roll, every Sunday night. Concealer, Keep Reaching, Monterey & Co., Orlando, Florida, The Will's Pub. The Black Crows, Big Sugar, Austin City Limits, Austin, Texas. LCD Sound System is playing for 4 days at the Hollywood Palladium in LA, Los Angeles, California. Amigo de Devo, TK and the Holy Know Nothings, 930 Club, DC. Knockings, Drain, hell yeah, Anthem, DC, hell yeah, Knockings. I might have to hit that up for real, you know I love it. Sentient Horror, courtesy of Infinite Terror Promotions. With Hematoid, Inhumation, at the Depot, Baltimore, Maryland, 4:15 p.m. Deadlands, Sinful by Nature via Clifton Dingbats, Metal Venue, one and only, 6 p.m. Saturday night. Path We Choose, yo. Pure Sight, my bad. The Martyr, Ghost of Hope, Lucky 13 Saloon, Brooklyn, Greenpoint, NYC. Senses Fail, holy shit, Saves the Day. And Narrowhead, the Fillmore, nice. And there you have it. Oh, and then Open Electric Jam, and that's in Brevard, North Carolina, at 185 King Street. For more shows, including the ones from Halloween and before, let's tune in to our next live. We're also going to have trivia that time as well. We're listening to Big Mama Thornton now, one of the many rockers featured in our Diaspora Apparel. And speaking of our Diaspora Apparel, we're going to feature plenty of it here and direct you as to where you can find it. So, our newest alteration is actually our denim jacket. Had this one for a long time, but we've added our Oluwatoyin fabric to it to give it some African flair. We're going to be doing this more to denim jackets, and if you like, we can just send you your own personally stitched Diaspora Apparel, jacket, shirt, etc. This is our Tano shirt, no alterations here, but we got it from an amazing Ghanaian wholesale fabric store / fashion outlet. This is called our Tano shirt because Tano is a river in Ghana. Beautiful river, and central to many different people's way of life. I always appreciate the motherland and the customs people birthed us today. We're Afro-Goths, so this is our Vampira dress. We have a Vampira collection with We Promise Not to Bite and Rock the Diaspora. This just features our Black Vampire Blade inspired, right? We Promise Not to Bite. This is our Vampira Squared. We Promise Not to Bite tank top and Rock the Diaspora. Very, very cool. Love the black and red again. Notice the color choice being very pro-black. Black, green, red, right? And then sometimes gold. For our Afro-Goths that are into sci-fi, our geeks out there who love space, we have this celestial, planet-influenced Rock the Diaspora design here on the goth pants. We're going to be having these shipped more from India. This is just our compare for our fashion purposes and promotion too. Our Victorian military jacket. For cosplay and just general fall fashion, winter fashion wear, maybe even spring. Don't fear the blackness. Don't fear the reaper. Right? What else do we have? Oh, we're wearing Don't Fear the Blackness as well on our shirt here. This is an Edwardian blouse from the 1900s / 1910s. We have restitched the collar so that it is perfectly snug and it's able to clasp again. We've also put some African fabric here on the collar. just so that we have heritage represented and the realistic representation of African influences and European blend together. Our history, our life as diasporans is, the story of conquest and then assimilation, double consciousness, and then restructuring of identity. We're also going to be shipping this out for an amazing member of the Black alternative community, the actual Facebook group, Black alternative music community, check it out. They want, a Black founder rock shirt, especially with Sister Rosetta here, because Sister Rosetta Tharpe is the godmother, the virtuoso, the origin of, blues to rock and roll. Rocked on her Gibson and several other guitars. Definitely always going to earn a special place in our art and the historical archives of Hall of Fame. We have our, Marilyn Monroe, 50s silk scarf, as it were. That's also vampire. This one is very comfortable. I love using it as a silk scarf to preserve your edges, those of us that want to keep our hair super soft. But you can also drape it over your head and, wrap it around you as a shawl, whatever you need to do. Don't forget that Missy Elliott can sing, though. What's one of your favorite R&B songs, Joe? I would put on the pants, but it's still a little too warm for all that. But I will show you the Aquafina shirt, because I'm it's a mini skirt / top, multi-purpose. I'm really proud of the multi-purpose fabric that we got from JSB International. If you're ever interested in getting your own fabric and designing shirts, etc., that's just one of the many incredible boutiques that you can find. Adinkra fabric, like the Aquafina, right? The Tano shirt that you just saw me model there. Yeah, this is Aquafina. What does that mean? And the Adinkra symbols of Ghana. The warrior swords. Valor, courage, strength, and community. Kind of like Wakanda, but like this instead. We're always going to be repping for Afro-Goth and mixing couture, essentially punkifying, making alternative couture, right? Because we've always had an understanding of elite fashion and high runway fashion. We've been a model for 15 years or more. There's no reason that Black people should not be more of a prominent part of the designing process from top to bottom at every stage. There's no reason that you can't add more rebellious, accents and details, to fashion. It doesn't have to be, Prada or Gucci or Fendi to be couture, to be that look. And that's what diaspora apparel is all about, just in general. So this is rap is a martial art. So recap. No, the pop-up was a moderate success in the sense that people showed up, they had fun, we talked, we were real, we mentioned what makes us happy as creators, and what's happening with us, and then what is getting in the way of that. The next time I do want to be more honest about how we can be safer, how we can make people feel more at ease, how we can prepare more in terms of my falling out with or not seeing eye to eye with Creature, with Death Bar Danny, with Rio from Deathcore, because they have their own predatory tendencies, and Jared of World Eater Recordings because, again, they weren't being fully honest about their inappropriate steps with me while still having, a monogamous relationship. Like, let's just be flat out. To be professional and to be able to, get along with each other. We're gonna have to be honest about the fact that, attraction does not excuse crossing the line. Attraction does not excuse forgetting to take steps and ask, is this okay? Do you agree with this? Is this putting you off? And then checking yourself, is this right? Am I, making sure that this person's autonomy is, seen and valued? Am I valuing this person's presence beyond my appreciation for their looks, For me, because I've always ended up in situations where my looks or other people's feelings were more priority, it's led to, quite frankly, me being taken for granted and not advocating for myself as much. But you've noticed since the era of being in the background and not as vocal, when I stepped into my power and made it clear that I was going to change things and make people confront, the ugly and the big and the bad. AKA, because, as Death Bar Danny said, I am a woman in charge, most people don't want much to do with me. Either in, attractive capacity or just a friendly capacity. Why? Because change is daunting. Change is jarring. And when we have to go through ourselves, undergo transformation ourselves, we're not always ready for it. We're not always ready for the person who brings that to us. And by the time that we undergo certain changes, we might realize that it was for the better, right? Or for the worse, or has yet to be determined. But I'm just realizing that the pushback sometimes is expected because folks expect to be enabled more than progress. I love y'all out there. It's always been about progress. It's not about tearing people down, though I do get annoyed because, yes, if Kamala's loss has taught us anything, even though I don't respect her political ideology and her stance on policing, etc., it's that people are not ready still to imagine a black woman in leadership. If my, life has been any testimony to that, let that be a lesson. It shouldn't be such a point of controversy with my local peers or anybody else that I have RTD and that I plan to, shake things up with that chance, with that opportunity. That's what this was for. I question others' ulterior motives if they assume that I'm out to exploit them. Right? That the first opportunity that I have as someone that's a diasporan that just wants us to have better, not just do better, to have the chance to do better, because some of us can't even imagine it. We've never had any experience outside of our small dome, and I'm not saying that I'm just the savior of information, Moses coming down from Mount Sinai. No, I'm saying for all of the mistakes that I've made and the trials that I've endured, I do have perspective on how to emerge from problematic and get to the good, get to okay, we've actually gained consensus without compromising people's feelings. voices. 2024 and for the next 4 years, because we've survived Trump before, hopefully we can do it again, though the key difference is that he knows now that people voted for him specifically to evade accountability themselves, right? We did not have the coup as a backdrop and context to Trump's presidency before. Now, there's this elephant in the room, this overarching sense that he gained presidency to stay out of prison, right? And that with that opportunity, he could create a dictatorship. Now, everyone is thinking this, and you'd be right to, right? If this person unsuccessfully tried to overturn government 3 years ago, one can only think, could it happen again? I'm not here to, declare things one way or another, fam. But I told you about self-defense and just being aware of being informed before the election, right? Like ever since summer and before. To prepare in your own way. To just be knowledgeable, because knowledge is power. And if nothing else, to be willing to learn, right? I believe in you. I believe in all of the people that I have criticized. I do. With the exception of P. Diddy. I believe in every single one of these diasporans, because the seed of potential is always there. It's always there. Up until you stop watering the seed of potential within yourself, there is always a chance to overcome and to, proceed, to rise out of the ashes, be your own phoenix. I've said that for a long time, but I really want you to embrace that and embody that. From this moment onward, be your own phoenix. Whatever has burned you down, whatever has been destroyed, emerge from those ashes mythical and strong. And worshipful. Worthy of being worshipful. Because like I said before I sign off, I know folks want to be loved as they are. I know folks want to, in their imperfection and their flaws, be embraced, right? The problem is, no fam, no Death Bar Danny. If you're calling women bitches and saying they're too mid to have attitudes, you don't deserve to be loved as you are. For Rio from Dubcore, making conversations mainly about you, off rip, and then making space for other people. Yeah, that's why people don't want to talk to you. That's harsh, that's tough love, but in both of these situations, no. You have to understand why people do not embrace you at your current state. And then once you can really sit with that, you will grow, you will evolve. It's uncomfortable to be in a mirror and seeing the ways you don't connect with people, that they have a point, and that, it hurts. We've all been there. For Jared, just be willing to, disengage your ego shield and admit that you make inappropriate moves because you feel entitled to do so. And that goes for most men, especially men in the modern society. You felt justified in messing up, right? Because you've seen it happen so many times before in other scenarios. It does not excuse you, right? Other people's lack of compass, lack of integrity, does not remove us from the consequences of our own lack of integrity and morality, right? It's the classic, not even the jumping off the bridge, they did it too. It's this guy's a crook, why can't I evade the law? They got lucky. And they were willing to risk it. Now, are you willing to risk losing out on your integrity, right? black community, the diaspora, no matter where we are, that we're at least trying to manifest an environment, a world, where the truth is not demonized. It simply just is. It's the default. It is the framework, the canvas that we're working from. I know it's possible. I know a lot of us will reject it, but I know just as many of us will fight for it. So fight for your truth, Phoenix. Rise from those ashes. And we will overcome. This election's not going to stop us. It didn't before.